for the same three countries. Okay, so what are we talking about today? So we are talking about experiencing God's protection. And since the talk is about experiencing, I will be sharing my experiences of God's protection since I came to Baba, and also maybe what I have gathered from other souls along the journey. And I also hope to include some silent reflections where we can assess or remember or remind ourselves of how God has been protecting us on our journey. Yes, so in the Mulis, so in the Mulis, Baba talks a lot about the canopy of protection, and the main method is to remember him. Says, you remember me, and you're in my canopy of protection, then Maya cannot reach you, no matter what situations you might be facing. So when you think about protection, one can think about it on many levels. But as meditators, the main thing you're talking about, in my understanding, is the state of my being. So the state of happiness, the state of peace, the state of lightness, the state of contentment and stability. So to what extent has Baba or God helped me to retain all of that, so that my life is happy and content? And of course, one can also then think about the protection outwardly. Although we're in the confluence age, and in the confluence age, we know this physically we are in the old. The bodies are old, the systems are old, the environment is the degraded one, but still, one can think about Baba's protection on that level as well, and how ultimately, anyway, we have the golden age, the silver age, when there'll be no issues either internally or externally, which is, of course, can be seen as kind of protection to the soul, the soul, the eternal being that I am. So I want to think about God's protection on two levels or along the journey. So from when I didn't know Baba, I hadn't started my journey of the confluence age. And then there is that point which sometimes is quite well defined for some individuals, maybe for some others not so well defined, when I actually realized, yes, I have found the one I have been searching for. I'm now in the confluence age. I am in this transformational age, where I can then start transforming according to the teachings of Baba. So there's that point when I didn't know, I was still searching. And then there's that point when I realized, yes, I have now come into the confluence age. So there must have been quite a bit of a shift in terms of what was there previously and what came about after getting this realization or this understanding. And one can think about that as a kind of protection. Something happened, some understanding came. And for me, what were the main things? Just this realization that, I'm this being of consciousness, that I'm eternal, I'm imperishable, I'm not this perishable body. I used to have some ideas about that, reading lots of psychology and all of that, trying to find the self. But it is only when I started the meditation course that this understanding came. And that was accompanied by some experiences in meditation, some experiences in yoga, so that that understanding actually became real. And also then extending that to others, I realized no matter what we are going through as humanity, we are also eternal and imperishable. So this unlimited understanding freed me from a lot of stress. And in addition to that, then I actually realized that in spite of the deeply disturbing state of the world, because that is what used to stress me quite a lot. In the late 80s, when I started working, early 90s, I could see the state of the world and think, okay, now where are we heading? But now there came this understanding that, it's only the world is old. And there is this journey that is cyclic, and we are on the tail end of that journey, and that the true nature of the human spirit is to be peaceful, to be happy, to be pure, and that we are on this return journey to that. So that helped me to be to be free from a lot of stress, a lot of, uh,
Sorry,
yes, hello?
brother. Can Translators are asking about it.
What?
Can you speak a little bit slowly because the translator cuts
Okay,
off?
okay. I
Yeah.
was thinking I was speaking a bit slowly, so I'll speak even more slowly. Thank you. Okay. So, so then came this understanding from the basic knowledge of the cycle that actually, uh, although the world is in quite a critical, degraded state, it is simply the fact that the world is old and that as everything else goes through these cycles, the world and humanity also goes through the same. And that the true nature of every human being is to be peaceful, is to be happy, is to be content. And when this understanding came, a lot of the stresses I had before just dissolved. And in addition to that, so I'm just sharing my experiences. I I had gone through my studies quite well. I was working. I also went back to university to study further, but I didn't have any specific thing I wanted to do with my life. I was like a seeker of truth, but somehow there was no thing I was like very clear about what do I want to do with my life? What is it for? But once I came to the confluence age, or that realization came, then yes, I found actually, this is my task. Yes, I have this chance to join up with the highest one, and together, yeah, help transform this world. And I see that also as a form of protection, because then I was very focused. I was able to then move on this journey, which is mainly about transforming myself. So that was quite another kind of protection that came immediately as a result of now connecting with Baba, connecting with God. And in addition to that, the lifestyle of a yogi also was quite a good form of protection. So the lifestyle of purity, the diet, and within that, Baba says inculcate divine virtues and also deeply understand, this law of karma and look at it from the perspective that I, the soul, am eternal, which means whatever I might encounter, although I might not understand the reasons behind it, as a result of what I've experienced in this lifetime, I need to account for the other possibilities along my journey and therefore try to deal with situations positively, using the qualities of the soul. So that understanding is also a big protection to the soul, because then we come to the soul comes to a state where I'm no longer getting caught up much more in the burdens of karma that have been accumulating since the Copper Age started and into the Iron Age. So that's a very good form of protection. Of course, it is not that once the soul knows about this, it is able to implement all of that perfectly. It's a long journey. It's still happening. Okay, so I'm thinking about now that immediate protection that more or less occurred in the initial period that all of us, let's say, found Baba. Might have been a few months, a few weeks, something like that. And I would think that all of us have those experiences. And what I have found over the years is that generally BKs, we love to share. How did you come to Baba? What happened? But sometimes what happens is that as we carry on, uh, we might even not start thinking deeply about those changes that happened. And we just get caught up in the current efforts. What am I doing? And if there are some issues I'm facing, some challenges I'm facing now, more or less, I don't still remember, I've benefited so much from this life just by knowing Baba. That shift that happened in that early period. So I would want us to just take, 2, 3 minutes. Think that I'm giving myself, in about, let's say, you take about, let's say, 4 minutes. I'm telling myself, and if I choose, I can just sit in front of Baba, visualize Baba, or visualize yourself and say, yes, I just want to remind myself about, those shifts that happened in that initial period. And the main things, the main changes that occurred, what is it? From the period I just started the meditation course to the period when I realized, yes, now I'm in the confluence age. So I'll give you, let's say, 3 minutes to do that, silently reflecting on that. Okay. So we are talking about experiencing God's protection. Again, I could just share my journey and some of those experiences from that initial period up to now, and also thinking about what I have gathered from others, from other classes, from other sharings. So my journey has been quite a good one. So finding Baba in Nairobi 1992, then moving on to Australia, where within a few days after arriving, I started staying with two BK brothers in Abavan that was quite close to the center in Adelaide. So the journey was quite smooth. And of course, staying with two brothers, different cultures, different understanding of different things. And there were some challenges, but it was quite a good thing because that's the place where each of us were then needing to practice what Baba says, inculcating the virtues and all of that. But my main what focus was on doing some good meditation early in the morning, and I found that that helped quite a lot. Even up to now, that has been my main focus. So then in 1998, I came to South Africa. So quite a good experience being with the family in South Africa. And yes, and yeah, some of the experiences is one of the experiences about protection at the physical level is, the situation I encountered one time where this brother was about to knife me, from behind. Then when I turned and looked at him, I was like trying to fend off his strikes. Then all of a sudden there was this flash of light, and he froze, and he stopped what he was doing, but he was demanding money, this kind of thing. Then I thought, okay, what happened there? What happened? I thought, okay, Baba, you came. I was not even remembering you at that point. I think you did something here. And I think I have learned, that these experiences, they may not be many, but they are actually there as well. So if it is in the drama, it happens that way. And if it is not in the drama, and sometimes, a soul leaves the body, because I remember one time Baba was speaking the Muli, and a few days before that, one brother who used to work in Pandav Bhavan, I think had met an accident, and a few hours later he left the body. So Baba was saying, oh, Baba could not do anything about this. So the soul left the body. But I just get this feeling that Baba also supported that soul along that journey of living and moving on. So, yeah, so there are many kinds of protections that that Baba provides, and I think they are quite unique, depending on the drama, depending on what Baba's plan is and what the soul's part is. But Baba says that, we need to be ready because any moment could be the last moment. So being with Baba constantly helps a lot. And the practice that I am that eternal, imperishable being helps a lot. So something else I would also want to share is, this form of protection, uh, which is quite practical. And for me, since I'm involved quite a lot in both the logic job and in direct Baba service, so quite a while ago, when I started working in South Africa, I was not sure that maybe this is what I need to continue doing. So, do I want to carry on with a full-time job, or should I do something else, either part-time job or anything else? And so I was spending quite a bit of time uh, with Baba, trying to understand or to feel what Baba is wanting, and also looking at my situation practically. And I thought that, the kind of Baba wants us to be practical. So, because the confluence age is a practical age anyway, as well as it being a subtle age, so that thing of seeing, okay, how is my situation? And therefore, what is it that Baba really wants me to do? And the thing of then balancing their log cake with the log cake, although in reality, uh, I don't think there is anything log cake, because the log cake job is also an aspect of a log cake service anyway, because one is doing that to connect with other souls, maybe to have some financial resources to support oneself and others and all of that. And I think, depending on one situation, I think Baba would also want to have souls in different places so that eventually Baba can be revealed as one who transforms souls of all backgrounds who are in all kinds of situations. So, something else that I do uh, to seek Baba's support in my logic activities, and actually anything else, is that at the end of Amrit Vela, so in the morning, after I've done my yoga, then take a few moments to pan out the day with Baba and give good energy, good vibrations to all the situations that you are going to be working with. Other things might come up anyway. But what I find is that that helps quite a bit to ensure that things turn out quite well. So I would want to continue with that. I would want to continue with still the aspects of God's protection, or how Baba is protecting us. And since the alokik part of Bab Dada through Guru Zadadi concluded, so one might then be thinking, okay, how is Baba protecting us now? And is Baba still very present with us? And what are our experiences of Baba's protection since then? So, what is your experience? So, of course, the experience is that Baba is very present even now. It is only Baba is now is completely subtle. But even when Baba was coming physically to Madhuban, as we hear in the Avyak Mulis. Baba often says he is seeing those who are physically in front of him in the hall, but he is also imagining the whole BK family, global family, which means even during that time, he was imagining every soul, even those who were in any part of the globe. And I think we also used to experience that. Some of the experiences that we have is that sometimes one could even feel that, although I'm very far away, I can feel that the energy has changed. Baba has actually come, although it is so far away. So, although now Baba doesn't come physically in Madhuban, of course, he's still coming. And the task of the conference is still carrying on. And I'm actually feeling that by simply getting more subtle, as Baba is even more present. And Baba is seeking us or needing us to actually transform quite fast. And there's a feeling that, the best times of the conference is just still waiting. The things that will lead to us reaching that stage where Baba can be revealed. I think those times will be very wonderful, and I think they are still to come. So, so I'm thinking, yeah, Baba is still protecting us, Baba is still here. The Father's task is still carrying on. So, my current effort, which I could see as how do I ensure that as much as possible, I'm in that Baba's canopy of protection, because Baba talks a lot about the canopy of protection. And Baba says, you're in that canopy, then my way will not reach you. Although on the other hand, what does Baba say? Yes, my way will come until the end. So it is about dissolving Maya as fast as possible if she comes, and probably also having that transforming the self so that those instances get less and less and less as the soul moves on towards its complete stage. So the main method for this is for me has been just having some deep yoga. So this mainly happens in the morning hours, in the morning meditation, and probably if the chance around, if the time allows, you have more meditation than simply maybe the 45 minutes, and having that deep practice of soul consciousness. So going into the depth of the self, the depth of the Father, and trying to really understand and experience that, you may say, the bodily stage, the eternity of the soul. Uh, so Baba says the soul is eternal, the soul is immortal, the soul is imperishable, and the soul is infinitesimal. So the, so the question is, to what extent do I experience all of that? And what methods can one use for that? So I usually, or some of the methods that they vary over time, but one of the methods is to just think how tiny the soul is. I, the soul, I am. And think that even a single atom or even a subatomic particle, whatever it is, anything that is in the physical dimension is infinitely bigger than who I am. So it's like a whole universe. So I'm this tiny being, but even within that subatomic space or that particle, I am. It's like comparing a universe to a point of light. So the soul is so tiny, and the soul is a being of light, has light. So I can sit in that space, in that awareness, and feel I'm in there, surrounded by my own light. There is nothing physical and beyond. And then Baba is instantly there in his fullness. So I can take so much of Sakash from that, and also then spread that around into the unlimited, and then yeah, just be in that form of light and might. And that deep practice is something that I do a lot of the time, so that I can clean up the soul deeply. And another aspect is making my relationships with Baba easy and natural. So it's deep, but it is easy, it is natural. I can play, I can have some fun with Baba. And some of these could be based on, what we have seen Baba, how Baba does things, when he comes to Madhuban, or you can even think about the stories of the history, how Father Brahma used to play with the children. You play what? You play what? You play chess, not chess, but Baba used to play games with the children. So there was a lot of lightness. So although there are these deep aspects, but there's also this natural lightness, which means I am not missing on my relationships with Baba are natural and they are more or less complete. And therefore I don't need dependency on anything else, on anyone else. Okay. Uh, so I'm thinking I've spoken quite a bit. I don't know how long I've spoken.
Yes, it was okay, very good. Just while reading your bio, it says that you're carrying out research on the subtle connection between consciousness and matter. Energy of consciousness needs on the practical challenges we face as humanity. Can you elaborate on this topic?
Okay, yeah. Actually, that bio was meant for some low kick. It was for some low kick engagement service I was doing, not. so so I've done some experiments, and I think that was what 10 years ago, 9 years ago, and these were inspired by these yogic farming that BKs had started doing before then. So I was thinking, okay, we are saying you can meditate on the land, on the seeds, on the crops, so they grow better. So, and had seen many other studies by other meditators, by other researchers that this actually happens. So then I decided I'm in a space where I could try some of these out. So I carried out a few experiments with students in the university where I work. And one particular one is where we planted on the roof of the civil engineering building. So I work in the School of Civil Engineering, and on the rooftop, which is a flat roof, we planted 800 carrots. So 800 carrots in 100 buckets. So 100 buckets, which means each bucket had 8 carrots, and 100 means this grid of 10 by 10. So a grid of 10 by 10, 800. And the arrangement or the method was to ensure that neighboring buckets were either a control, which is not meditated on, or neighboring buckets were a control and the one that was meditated on, which means if this bucket is a control bucket, the next one on this side you'll be meditated on, the next one you'll be a control, and also in the other direction. So meditated, control, meditated. So that created a grid where then the ones that were to be meditated on were actually on a diagonal. So on one diagonal to be meditated on, then you skip, the next diagonal is a control, the next diagonal will be meditated on. And the idea was to ensure that the experiment is very well controlled as much as one can. And also it was hydroponic. So the nutrients being received were also more or less similar because one can control that with liquid fertilizer. So then I was giving yoga to the diagonals to be meditated on from the center. So the meditation center in Soweto, which is 15 kilometers away. So after my morning meditation at 4:45, then I was spending another half hour to then focus on these rows that I may be meditated on, although they are far. So they are far, 14 kilometers away, but you visualize that you give this akash. So this current of light. And I could have a thought that you, carrots, realize you are receiving this highest energy in the universe, so that you are going to reach your highest potential. That kind of, these were the thoughts, but mainly just light and might. And then when we harvested, we found that the carrots that were meditated on, so let's say about 400 of them, they had an average weight which was 11% higher. And statistically, that was very significant when you do your studies of what statistical significance. And then we also found that the nutrition content was much higher. So some constituents were 10% higher, some were 20, one was even 30, one was even 80. I think essential fatty acids, 80% higher for the ones that were meditated on. And it was actually evident. So when I used to show my colleagues, this group here and this group here, which ones do you want to have which one do you want to take? It was so evident that these ones are much more vibrant, deeper in color than these ones. So that was one of the experiments I carried out, and also carried out some other experiments that don't take as long, where you simply do what? Germinate seedlings, and you measure the length of the root and the length of the shoot over a period of 10 days, and then find out, does meditating on the seeds, meditating on the water that they are germinating on make a difference? And we found it makes a big difference. One of them was 27% higher, the average length. And you're talking about 500 seeds. So it was quite, yeah, these are some of the experiments I've done. And since then, I've been wanting to carry out some field experiments now, but I haven't managed to do that yet. But it's still on my mind. Yes.
Right. Actually, it's the yogi farming. They are doing yogi farming in India, and also in Greece we started that, and it's really very important. Um, yes, I don't see any questions here, but I was thinking. Um, you're in Africa and you have Vedanti Didi there, who is so light and happy and simple and many, many other things. Do you have any experiences from her? Of course, she influences everyone with this lightness that she has. Did you have any experiences that helped you in your life as a Brahmin? And can you say a few things about the relationship with Didi Vedanti?
Yes, of course. She's actually the first BK I saw physically. So I came to Baba in 1992 and I saw there was an invitation that came to the university where I was working and there were programs happening at the center and the theme was truth. I was a seeker of truth and I had seen BKs before then and actually got some experiences from BKs even on TV. I'd seen one brother and he was talking about God being a source of, okay, I'm speaking too fast. Let me slow down.
Yes.
So, so this brother was saying God is a source of light. Then he was speaking a bit, and then he was just hammering again on that point. God is a source of light. That was in 1991, but he was so silent that I could like tap into the silence. Although I had a friend, and that friend was like complaining about this silence, but for me it was like saying, I have to go to this place and see what happens. So anyway, so in 1992, there were these programs at the center. The theme was truth, and I decided, yeah, let me go to the center and attend these events. But I used to set out and reaching the opposite side of the road to the center. I was not getting any courage to go through. So I was turning back, going home until the programs were over. So, but even after that, there was this thing in my head, like ringing in my head, you have to go to this place. So then I still set out on a Friday afternoon and I went to, I walked towards the center, okay, take public transport, walk towards the center. And this time there was no resistance at all. So I simply went through straight and as I was getting into the building, yeah, Vedanti Ben was like coming out, like coming out and this, hey, brother, what do you want to do? This and this. I said, I want to learn meditation. So she said, okay, speak to this brother here, speak to this person here. So anyway, that was my first encounter with Vedanti Ben and many other experiences of her yoga power and her lightness. So very many experiences. And yes, but I mean, I've also had many experiences or some experiences with the daddies. So in 1993, Daddy Prakash Mani came to Nairobi, actually to Kenya. We were opening a center in Mombasa, which is a port city in Kenya. I think it was the first what you call it planetarium, where these spaces where the experience of going to Paramdam is given, is kind of thing. So, but anyway, her experience was what? Just her yoga power. You were taking personal drishti, and when I looked at for her forehead, it was like this beam of light, this powerful beam of light from her forehead. And over the few days that she was there, I could just feel how my stage of meditation just shot up in those few days. And other experiences. Actually, the daddies, my main experience with the daddies is the yoga power, actually, and other souls as well. including Brother Anthony Strano, although the classes were so powerful, so deep. But the yoga as well, eh?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Mm.
Wonderful.
Mm.
So we have some time. So can you lead us to some meditation with some parts of silence, but lead us to Baba and feel his protection?
Okay. So let's sit in silence. Sit comfortably and breathe in and out at my natural pace. And I remind myself about who I am. I am the soul, this subtle being of consciousness. I'm sitting with the forehead. I come back to the silence of my being, the subtlety of my being, the wonder of my being. In reality, there is nothing more wonderful than I, the soul, and my Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul. There may be many wonders out there, but at this time, I come back to the wonder of my being, this silent, subtle, extremely wonderful, extremely powerful entity, the one who travels through time, through space, for eternity, expressing the beauty, the blueprint of my being. I sit in this awareness and go deep into the silence of my being, beyond anything physical, and emerging my light, the light from within. I let this light spread all around, and I let it flow. And I come into the presence of Baba. It's like a beautiful being of light. I feel the pull of you, Baba. I feel your silent, magnetic attraction. I emerge into your presence. into your silence, into the eternal silence of your being. I absorb myself completely. Open my whole being and let your presence, your light and might transform me completely. Stay in this silence. And I gently let this light and might flow into the universe, combined with you. I gently come back to the present moment in the physical dimension, feeling so content, happy to carry on with what I need to do. Om Shanti.